Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and we're about to look at the daily transit, which is quite interesting actually. So, the sun just entered the seventh gate, the army, the role of the self, and we'll stay there for the entire week together with the 13th gate, the opposition, Earth. And as you know from my previous video, the nodes also just changed into the second and the first gate. So if we look at the G center, we have something like a fork. So just to change my pointer. So you see here the fork? Yeah. This is the cross of the Sphinx, 7th, 1st, and the 13th gate, which are mm, the different views, the future, the past, and the present in the middle. And we have the second gate, the keeper of the keys. And since the second and the first gate are in the nodes, and the nodes are not planets, they are the nodes of the moon. So those are positions which are in space. And they connect us to the bigger picture. They connect us to the global consciousness program. The daily transit is actually what gives you a glimpse of the daily uh, program transit field. But the global consciousness program connects us to the bigger cycles. We're now at the end of two cycles, actually, one of 1600 years and one of 400 years. And we're really feeling that in the background frequency. We're moving from the cross of planning to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And a key role has here Pluto, uh, which is um, connected to truth, transformation, psychology. It's one of the long term planets, which stays for 282 days or something like that. So, quite long. And it connects us to our generation. Our generation has the same theme. So right now, Pluto is in the 60th gate, the gate of limitation, the gate of acceptance, and it is there since 2021, around March, I think. So it will be staying there. It will go away a little bit this September till November, and then in November again it goes in. And it entered this January the 14th, 2022. So it connects us somehow to the bigger theme of entering the new cross and the new background frequency. Same is with Neptune, also a long staying planet. And it is in the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis. Um, also is here for a long time. So people who have the third gate or the 35th gate, especially in open centers, will feel quite much this melancholic feeling in the uh, this channel of mutation, this pulse energy, which gets activated, and also here the channel of transitoriness, jack of all trades, very expulsive, very It's a manifester channel, pure manifesting channel. So it's explosive, that's the word, explosive energy of looking to go through a new experience. So it is a perfect setting, something new, which comes out of the chaos of the third gate, the gate of ordering, connecting to the 60th gate, which is right now in the air. And the 60th gate, the gate of limitation, it limits this whole possibilities which are in the chaos itself. There are ultimate a number of unlimited possibilities in the chaos. So the 60th gate, in a way, it limits it to one at a time. It limits it, and um, it, you can say, is a mutation which lays the way forward to the new cycle. And right now, with the nodes in the first and the second gate, the gate of direction, the gate of the receptive, the higher self, receptivity is the primal base through which any response is determined, the root of action. It is the most feminine energy, Gaia, the receptive, six yin lines, being open to all the possibilities of direction and being limited at the same time to the correct ones. But right now, since the Sphinx is activated, it is a possibility that we, in the next few days, actually experience, feel in our chest, even especially if you're with an open G center and you're receptive to this energy, you can actually feel and hear in the air somehow maybe a new directive, creative direction. And it is doubled with the sun in the army, the role of the self in interaction, the in third gate we're right now, the anarchist. So let's look at the seventh gate, the gate of the role of the self, which is part of the cross of the Sphinx, gate of logical direction, gate of the role of the self in interaction, and also which together with the 31st gate would make the channel of the alpha, design of a leadership for good or bad. It is the understanding circuit which leads into the future. So it is about logic which tests and establishes patterns which can be followed afterwards for a safe future, and being certain when you know what's happening. But it is a rule of all forms that only logic, tested and established patterns can be followed with some certainty. And it is clear how the nature of these leadership roles are determined. So the self itself, the self is unaware. This is a mechanical function. It is not, it's a genetical role. So basically we have an authoritarian, for instance, if it's in the first line, and you can never be something else. It is the only way you know. Or the Democrat in the second line, or the anarchist in the third line. So this is a role gate. It shows us the different types of leadership, or the abdicator in the fourth line, the general in the fifth, and the administrator in the sixth line. So here we have the point of convergence by design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. So even if you have the 31st gate, the gate of influence, the gate of leadership, the seventh gate is the real um, behind the curtains, if we can call it leader. Mm, because it is the direction of the role of the seventh gate, which is the power behind the throne, usually. So we have, as if we look at the base, at the first line, which always shows us the essence, the no, not the essence, but the basic, the foundation of this gate, the seventh gate. So the first line, the authoritarian, the iron hand, both enlightened and despotic. So it is the capacity of the self to guide with authority, and the distorted intellect is on the other side, that believes that it only knows best and nobody else knows best. Um, so you have the two sides of being authoritarian. Then we go to the second line, the Democrat, the ability to lead by serving the will of the majority. So those are people who will wait. They will not accept the leadership unless they have been democratically voted to take it. It is the application of universally accepted systems. When connected through the alpha, the channel to gate the alpha channel to gate 31 influence, we have here the potential for widespread and revolutionary effect on society, the capacity of the self to lead when chosen, and to feel superior to those who chose them. It can become the Democrat quite at some point basic authoritarian. And then we have the third line, the anarchist, the rejection of any influentialized order, the constant need for change no matter what the prevailing conditions are. And the other side is the nihilist, the capacity of the self to deny value in any role. Quite an anarchistic function here. Then we have on the other side here the discovery. So you reject institutionalized order to discover something new. It is the most material way. The third line. We have the capacity of the self to deny value in any role. So right now we can experience exactly this energy because we're here just at the beginning. So the whole day we're gonna feel this energy, which is of trial and error, bond made and broken. And it is this type of leadership, the anarchist. But then we will go to the fourth gate, the abdicator, the willingness to accept the judgment of people and of the law, the grace and wisdom to step down for the benefit of the whole, the capacity of the self to accept the judgment of others, to wait for the opportunity, and when it arrives, to take, if it is in consensus with your authority and strategy, you take the opportunity which comes along the way. And that's how you advance in life if you're in the fourth line. So, and the other side, the refusal of the self to accept the judgment of others and be a very narrow way of looking at of leadership. Um, then we will go to the general, where we have the projection of leadership whose authority must be absolute and is sanctioned by society in times of crisis. If the general doesn't deliver, it's here we have the gift of attraction, of attracting loyalty necessary in harmonizing the potential of society, the capacity of the self through its role to attract loyalty. And the other side, the commander isolated from his troops and obsessed with victory at any price. The lack of loyalty when the self insists on isolation. It is the leadership of the general who is at the edge of society, waiting to be called, to be practical, and give in times of crisis solutions to save, to be the savior, and then when it's over, to be able to retreat and not stay with which will bring him isolation and lack of loyalty. That's the fifth line type of leadership. They have to know when to retreat, because if they stay forever, they inevitably got get hung, because they are not so attractive anymore. They're not practical. They're good in times of crisis. And the last type of leadership, the administrator, sixth line, the ability to share and justly apportion power. So it is the power to communicate the frameworks of responsibility and the capacity of the self through its role to communicate responsibility. And the detriment, the other side, the bureaucrat whose lust for power eventually destabilizes the organization. The role of the self to seek power through the communication of responsibility. So on one side, its role to communicate responsibility or to seek power through the communication of responsibility. So it is the G center. This is not the will. The power comes naturally out of living you, out of being authentic. And it is in the world actually very important. And this is what the Sphinx shows us. It's how you're connected to the whole. It's your road, it's the way, it's the direction. And at the same time, it is about behavior. The 10th gate, how to be in the world, how to behave, what is the appropriate behavior, how to be logical so that you survive in the future. Making all the tests which you can, before you go to space, you made all these tests which allowed you to make the most suitable airspace shuttle with which you can actually go to space without dying. That's perceiving the future. That's trying to outguess what will be the conditions there so that you take measures. It's logic. It's you test, you see it works, you use it to predict and to be safe in the future. Then we have the now. We have the first gate, the creative, the gate of self-expression. Creation is primal force, the energy potential to manifest inspiration without limitation. And it is about direction in the now. How to be creative in the now. Again, exclusive of willpower. You cannot will yourself to be creative. It is just being yourself and just being. Creation comes out of you, and whether it attracts attention or not, it is not up to you. It's not about being the best. It's not about being the first. It's just about being. And it can become a role model by being. And, if you're an artist, for instance, and somebody sees your paintings or hears your playing your instrument or dancing or whatever, reading your book, it can inspire them. The way you express your creativity can inspire them to also to be empowering for them to express their creativity. You know, if she can play violin so beautifully, then I can play the piano as well. It only will take some more practice. So it's being in the now, doing your thing, eventually attracting attention or not. And then we have the 13th gate, the fellowship of men, the gate of the listener. We were just, yeah, we're together with the seventh gate. We entered, and it is about the universal ideas and values in an ordered framework which inspires humanistic cooperation. It is the gate of the mm, traveler who leaves its home to make new experiences, to meet new things, and come back afterwards home and um, make a story, write a story about it. And it is the gate of history, the gate of the story, his story or my story. So we have here my story in the now, and here we have his story, the history, which actually helped us advance also from the animal kingdom by being able to tell stories to our young and prepare them for what's expected, or teach them something only via the word of mouth, via stories. We have all those the peoples around the world, actually a lot of the history and a lot of the what happened during the medieval ages and even further before history was actually done, as you know, by stories around the fire, stories of the traveler who went from tribe to tribe in each kingdom. And sometimes it would be an artist with its mandolin or another musical instrument singing the story, or um, also we have different drawings in caves and so on. So it's about a story, it's a visual story there, something which helped us advance. So those are the three directions. And of course, we have the second gate, the receptive, the gate of the higher self, um, which is where the keys of the magnetic monopole, which connects us to the totality and which gives us our own direction. At the time of conception, it is the magnetic monopole which gets separated from the design crystal, the body. And this is when love is gone, because there is a separation between the body, the physical, and the direction, the road. Together they're love, together they're one. And once we're born, this is where we're heading. We're heading to the end, where again the magnetic monopole will be connected to the design crystal and go back to Earth. From Earth we come, and to Earth we go, as we say, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Mm, so we have the software hovering somewhere here, the personality crystal above, not even allowed to be in the body, and be can be the awakened passenger, the software, but it is the hardware which actually gives us our direction. It is a mechanical function. It has nothing to do with even with awareness. It has nothing to do with responding or initiating. It just is. It is the direction, and it's a mechanical function. If we respond, if we are initiated, um, we can get to our signature and be on our trajectory, be on our fractal line, meet those forces which we're here to meet. So all of this, um, which is happening right now, all of this energy indeed connects us somehow and gives us a glimpse in those few days and months, because of the nodes, they will stay until the 15th of November. I think so. They give us a glimpse of the global, new global direction. So open your Eyes, open your ears, guys, your cognition, your senses, and be receptive. Maybe there is something for you during those days to hear, to see. At the same time, we have also the gate of the fixed pattern, the fundamental attunement to natural rhythms, waiting as an active state of awareness in third line compulsiveness, the fear engendered by the sense of helplessness resulting in unnecessary stress and activity. The moon cannot stand still, it's unable to surrender, and at odds with one's own rhythm. This is with our driving force, what will drive our mind. So, although we have here the energy for direction, our mind will not be very happy with waiting. And wanting to communicate, and our thinking in the gate of dispersion, the gate of sexuality, the one night stand, sixth line, the tendency based on personality or circumstances to accept only temporary unions that may be otherwise impossible or dangerous to continue. So the basic drive to move on that seeks impermanency as a matter of course and not in response to circumstances. The drive for sexual and intimate diversity, but not ready to engage in it. It's the one night stand, guys. It's the sixth line. It is looking for the perfect relationship, the perfect soulmate. And it will not engage unless it meets. That's what we want to communicate. That's what's in the air. Together with the values and relating in Venus, the 62nd gate, preponderance of the small, the gate of details, in the fifth line, metamorphosis. When excellence is achieved, action is necessary. And it is together with the 17th gate in Jupiter, law and protection, the gate of following, the gate of opinion. Fifth line, no human is an island. The recognition, however, understood that there is no end to hierarchies. And if we look at the channel of acceptance, the design of organizational being, it's about putting your understanding of things in actually terms in which you're able to organize it in your own internal picture. So we have here the ajna center connected to the throat. So it's about concepts which are being expressed in the gate of detail in the throat. It's organization is an ongoing internal process, and it is about being busy constantly organizing this mental state of understanding things and making adjustments to the bigger picture via those things that you understand. And um, basically fitting it to the bigger pattern of things. So with the 1762 energy, we have a constant internal pattern and new data, which is compared to this internal pattern and logically integrated into that picture. So this is understanding. It's a collective gate, so it's wanting to share your understanding, share your internal picture, and what you cannot organize and you cannot understand, you also share. You say you share your misunderstanding of it, or just not understanding. We might hear in the air a lot of "I don't understand you today," and uh, yeah, for a few days. So they haven't been able to organize your perception, their perception into your perception into their picture of the world. So it might feel uncomfortable, but it is very possible that people don't understand each other um, in the following days. Or on the opposite, come up with new terms, with new um, with new opinions, which can be with great detail and bring understanding. It's also part of the logical circuit. So it's also about the future, finding a pattern which works. Um, but the point is that there is energy for organization, but sometimes the 1762 cannot organize their own space, but they're very good at organizing other people's spaces. And hence it's a projector channel, needs to be invited, as well as the seventh gate also, projector gate, and all of those directions. So you have to wait to be recognized and invited to share your opinions and your organization with others, not just be there sharing and not being recognized, feeling bitter. Uh, yeah, and then we still have the uh, Mars in the 23rd gate, splitting apart the gate of assimilation, diversification without the perceived potential for synthesis, the fourth line, fragmentation, fatalism and egoism, individual expression, which has no collective value unless it's understood by the others. Otherwise, it brings atheism and paranoia, and engenders isolation and fear, and is taken as the strange and changing, misunderstood freak instead of the genius it can be when waiting for the correct moment. And then we have the 49 Saturn in the 49th gate, revolution, the gate of principles. This is our discipline and limitation. So we're quite limited and put into place, being judged and um, being disciplined in a political and social agenda embodied in guarantees to human rights that ensures a just and valid replacement of the old order, a potential sensitivity to the needs of society. Or the other side, promises, 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 and only to guarantee support with the little possibility of implementation, a potential to insensitively take advantage of the needs of society. So this is where we're going to be restricted as society, about whether we don't follow our principles, the law of protection, um, express our opinions when we're invited, and Venus preponderance of the small, the gate of details. So hence we wait to be invited and follow our strategy and authority, where this restriction will not be so harsh on us. And again, we have the second gate in Uranus, the unusualness, chaos, and innovation. Also, for quite some time in the second gate, the receptive, the gate of direction of the self. Sixth line fixation, unable or unwilling to see the whole picture. With Mercury exalted, less negative, though the intellect becomes absorbed in constant rationalization, and higher knowing that is extremely narrow in its receptivity. The need for security may distort awareness to its ultimate perversion, destructiveness. The higher self absorbed with the mundane and the need for security, instead of for the best and the most beautiful way. So this energy continues. We can be open to direction, but this opening is to a very limited, um, uh, absorbed, mundane, and fixation, fixed direction. So this is the picture of the concrete moment, the just now chart, as we call it. Of course, since the gates stay for some time, this is the chart for a few days. I also call it because the seventh gate, in which is the sun and earth, are for 5.5 days. So they will be till Wednesday the uh no um so till the 7th of August. But we also have the notes, and they will stay for, as I said, till November, for quite some time. Here are the notes. And yeah, we see that the slow moving planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, also are going to stay for quite some time. Uranus changes first into the 23rd gate, and yeah, so the rest will stay for quite some time, as you see, at least till the end of the month, when Neptune changes to the 36th too. But yeah, it stays in the 36th gate. So this picture down here with those four planets will be valid for quite some time. So yeah, it's the transit field shows us how the planets move, and those are energies through which the neutrino field passes, and this is how it affects us all. But it is irrelevant for those who follow their strategy and authority. It's only informative because this is not something that we have to actually experience. It is just the weather. It is just the transit field. And we have our own strategy and authority. This is a projector chart. So in general, the energy, it's about waiting to be recognized, and invited to share your wisdom, your understanding, your opinion, and if you wish, the direction you see. In times of crisis, opinions, rejection, um, looking for the um, dispersion, and that's about communicating it being limited, and at the same time um, possibility for transcendence in a pulse mechanism. So interesting few days ahead, preparing us for the bigger picture, for what's coming, because the global consciousness program is perfect. It is something which affects everything around us. It is the energy which really affects all living and maybe even non-living, because they also have a G center um, thing. Although there is no gate right now to the, so only the living pointing to the G, except for the fifth gate. Actually, there is one pointing to the G. So yeah, indeed, it will be affecting also the inanimate object. But those are days of receptivity, and are days of different roles being played out in the world. And there is a lot of listening. Secrets can be exposed, and we can receive new creative direction. Following your strategy and authority is an expression of self-love. It's the G center is the center of love and direction. And the biggest expression of self-love is to be authentic and to be centered in who we are, no matter our type. Just being by itself will expand our consciousness in form, in this world, in this life. I'm wishing you love days ahead with new direction if needed. But everything is changing all the time. So new direction is probably something which also comes along the way. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. And it will be awesome to hear your comments below. If you subscribe to my channel for more, talk to you soon. Bye for now.